it is just falling apart for the Mumbai Indians. How bad was that? If you expected this team to chase what we thought was a gettable score at half-time, here on Maruti Suzuki presents ESPN Cricket for T20 timeout, powered by Eco 95G. Eventually, they've fallen 36 short. That's a massive margin, you'd think, in a game that we thought, well, maybe this is the day back at the Wankhede Stadium, and the Mumbai Indians may have some better fortune. We'll just try and make sense of that all with Imran, Tahir and Dan Vettori. How do you explain that chase, the eventual margin of victory, quite significant then?
Well, you think the only impetus to the innings was Rohit Sharma. How he played, he sort of understood that he needed to be aggressive. Ishan Kishan struggled incredibly. I can't think of an opener scoring 7 off 18 balls or whatever he ended up with.
8 off 20, yeah.
8 off 20. So that's incredible in those situations, particularly for the way that he plays the game. So he's obviously incredibly confused around his role and his style of play. And then we had the middle stages where no one seemed to want to take the game on, and then the belief that Pollard could just walk out and miraculously chase down sort of 12 to 14 and over. When you've lost 7 games in a row, those things are not going to come together. So it was a strange chase.
Tilak Verma, perhaps the only other player, along with Rohit Sharma, who looked like that there's actually a chase to get there. But what about Kieron Pollard's own innings? It's one thing that the team seemed to be bowling better to him, but was that a poor innings or poorly thought of innings from Pollard?
I think you have to acknowledge that Lucknow did bowl well. You saw some of the areas and their strategies, and they executed well. Sometimes when Pollard comes to the crease, everyone has the same plans, but the ability to execute is not so easy because of his presence and his history and the way he plays. But in the end, it just looked like he had no intent. It looked like he was going to wait till the last minute to try and get the runs. And 40 off 10, it was just like there was no time. It just had to go. So credit to Lucknow on the way they bowled, but strange innings all round from Mumbai.
Yeah, let's get Imran Tahir's thoughts as well. You've seen Pollard do it many times, Amy, but if I have to ask you about, let's start with the Pollard innings and then we'll look at the rest of it too. Was that poor?
Yeah, I won't say it was poor. I think just didn't hit the ball well. He tried, I think. But that's not the Pollard, obviously, we've been watching over the years. I think he's a perfect guy in the situations like he had, but unfortunately, I think he just didn't look confident and not look good in, obviously, in a good touch, and especially the team lost about 7 games and then coming into 8 game under pressure. So I think everything in it today happened to him, and it's just not a great way he finished the game today.
Does this team look like a team that's defeated, Imran? Just looking at how this chase fell apart, so many different parts of it where you just didn't look like Mumbai going to get over the line.
Yeah, like everything really. They didn't have a good start. Like Dan mentioned, the Ishan Kishan is their main player who's very aggressive. And he always play well, especially in the power play and stuff. But I think he struggled, to be honest with you. And there was only one guy who I can think of is Tilak, who looked really good. But obviously that time with Pollard, who wasn't hitting the ball well, then they had to obviously get about 12, 13 and over, which always was going to be difficult. And it was a matter of wicket fall, and then that's what happened when Tilak got out, and it was a huge pressure on Pollard, and obviously he was in good form either. So I think they just didn't plan well, and it just didn't look like Mumbai team, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, you look at that 14th over then, that's gone for 16, where Tilak Verma's hit a couple of boundaries of a couple of sixes of Ravi Vishnu, and you think this is now perhaps a momentum shifter. And then the next over was gone for 5. You've got a 12-run over, a 9, 6, 5, and in the end, almost to sum that innings up, 2 runs and 3 wickets of the last 2, and the equation was impossible. Did they just sort of miss a trick in terms of what gear to go at, that 15th over, especially from Pollard again?
I think that has to be it. I think there's this belief that you can all of a sudden pull it out in the last couple of overs. You hit 3 sixes in 1 over, and all of a sudden the game swings back to you. But I think you're underestimating the opposition, and Chimera was so impressive tonight. I mean, his first 3 overs went for 9, then he came back and bowled round the wicket and executed the wide Yorker. I thought he was incredibly impressive at that pace as well. So in a lot of ways, Mumbai overestimated their abilities and underestimated what Lucknow could do to them in those situations.
What do they do from this? 8 defeats is, I mean, it's humiliating for that franchise.
I think it's the same as I said at the start of before the game, sorry, is that they still have to develop for next year. I think their auction strategy feels like it was a 2-year plan, so they've got to commit to that. They've got to understand the young players, Brevis and Varma look like quality players who they can build around, and then they're going to have to make some decisions around their senior players and whether they're going to play them out through the tournament or give some of the guys on the bench more of a go to see if they can be contributors for next year.
Imran, would you go with that now? Would you like to see Mumbai just put in all those uncapped players, maybe 1 by 1 or 2 by 2, and just try players, look at next season already, maybe bring Tim David back for Kieron Pollard? Would that in any way be of interest to you?
Definitely, that interests me. I think Tim David is a very talented player. I played with him recently, and I'm actually surprised that he's not been playing in that team. Yeah, I think if they think that they're out of the comp, then they rather give youngsters the opportunity and try to look forward for next year. Otherwise, they just stick to the team they got and they're just trying to get a couple of wins in their pocket and just finish the season with a bit of confidence, to be honest.
All right, looks bleak for the Mumbai Indians, but let's give credit to Lucknow. We thought have done well to comfortably defend what we thought was a gettable score at half-time. So credit to their bowlers, I guess. I mean, without Avesh Khan, they've managed to, almost everyone's contributed and put in an effort today.
Yeah, and they didn't use Stoinis either, so they've got the resources there. I thought Krunal Pandya was fantastic tonight. I think he bowls in a manner that not many spinners do. He obviously looks to bowl fast, but his ability to still get top spin on it puts a lot of pressure on batsmen, and we saw today him in the power play, middle stages, and then to bowl the last over. So he's one of those rare spinners who can offer you something at all facets of the game. So I thought him, coupled with Chamira that we've already talked about, were the standout bowlers for them tonight.
Yeah, looks a good bowling attack all round. Even Mohsin Khan, who came back after a long time, Imran has gone for just 27, picked up an important wicket too. They didn't seem to miss Avesh Khan. Lucknow stuck to their bowling plans almost perfectly.
Look, everyone looked confident wherever they had to. We were talking earlier about Jason Holder. He came back and he bowled in the last few overs, so it was lovely to see. And I think, yeah, just they knew their plans, and I always believe that. Mumbai, I think, still lacking one spinner at least. If they look at the Lucknow team, you always have with spinners, you always have an opportunity, like I mentioned earlier. If they pick 1 or 2 wickets in the middle, that give a big boost to the team. And I think a credit goes to the bowlers from Lucknow. Especially Chamera and Kunal, they bowled really, really well.
How do we look at that KL Rahul innings at the end of the game now, Imran, where everyone else pretty much struggled from both teams? Even Rohit Sharma eventually is 39 of 31, and you've got Tilak Verma at 38 from 27. But does the Rahul innings stand out even more now? Was it not as easy a day to bat?
Look, when he was batting, it did look easy, to be honest with you. But maybe because he's been in a fantastic form. But I think that's how he plays. He knows, how to play in power play. He's the kind of guy who likes to stay till the end. And by then, I think he have a wonderful idea about the game, that where he needs to go and which over he needs to target which bowler. We've seen that on many occasions he's been doing that. So I think he played his part, which was a very big part for his team, and definitely for me, he played outstandingly today and read the situation really well.
Seems to be improving as a tactical leader as well. Ayush Badoni gets an over, gets a wicket. Choice of bowlers through the innings seems to be evolving.
Well, I think he has resources now. I think that makes captains when they can identify the bowler in the right situation, and I think his bowlers have backed him up. So it seems like a well-run unit. They understand their roles now, and I think they're going to be a team that will improve quickly because they're getting to that point where everyone understands what they need to do in game situations.
And you could say almost the opposite for Mumbai Indians. Well, we leave it there. They've got 6 more games, so we'll have enough time to see if they have more opportunity to play some of their players. Speaking of which, 4 hours and counting today. Does anyone care about over it anymore, or is that just a Mumbai Indians thing?
Does anyone care about my jet lag?
Yeah, it did take some time today, didn't it? Now, the Maruti Suzuki Driving School poll of the day before we wrap things up with Imran and Dan. Which player would have made the highest scores? The question we asked, and 47% of you were pretty safe and solid with KL Rahul, who ends up just towering 103. And the next highest score is Rohit Sharma's 39 in both teams. So Rahul had an excellent day today. That was the Maruti Suzuki Driving School poll of the day. Plenty more then as the IPL continues to roll on. Big thank you to Imran, Tahir and Dan Vettori. We will see them soon again tomorrow for Punjab against Chennai on Maruti Suzuki Presents ESPN Cricket Info T20 Timeout, powered by iQOO 9 5G.